Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Talking Bullion. Well, today I want to talk about one of my favorite topics, and that's junk silver, or 90% silver, or constitutional silver. One of those weird things that has three names, but all means the same. And anybody that's been following my channel knows that I just absolutely love junk silver. I'm going to call it junk silver for now. So I think that's how most people refer to it, even though I'm aware that it annoys a lot of people to call it junk silver. 90% is fine too. But we've been reading and we've been seeing on YouTube and various other places that junk silver has been pretty hard to get. And when you can get it, it's very expensive. So let's have a little discussion about that. So why don't we go ahead and take a look. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to post some clips from a video I did last year. Got quite a few views. People liked it a lot. And it's out there on YouTube if you haven't seen it. And it's called How Rare is Junk Silver? I Think You'll Be Surprised. And we can look at it right here. Here it is out there on YouTube. And so I would highly suggest, if you haven't seen this video, go look at it, because I talk about a lot of stuff. I did a lot of research for this video. And again, I think that when you hear some of the numbers that are talked about with the different melts that went on over the years, you're going to be surprised how much is probably gone. And if people like you and me, who currently have it, don't sell it, nobody can buy it. And I think right now, there's not too many people selling. So what I'm going to do is play a couple excerpts from this video and show you some of the different topics that was talked about when it comes to how much silver was melted. So first one we're going to look at is regarding Henry Merton, who wrote a book called The Big Silver Melt. Unfortunately, I don't think that book's in print. When I did research on it last year, a couple places had it for like $400. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But anyway, let me play you this excerpt from this video, and it's about Henry Merton talking about the kind of silver melt that was happening back in the 1960s for junk silver, or 90%. So let's take a look. So Henry wrote about the silver melt of the 1960s, and he provided some really good data on the melting during those years. And he claims about 1.24 million ounces of U.S. coins were melted between 1966 and 1969. 1.24 million ounces of U.S. coins. That's a lot of ounces, folks. And he says that's about 65% of every silver coin minted between 1916 and 1964. So Henry's claims in this book is that in these few years from 66 to 69, about 65% of all the silver coins that were minted between 1916 and 1964 were destroyed through the melting process by sending them to the smelters. Alright, well, you can see that's a heck of a lot of coinage. Now, I've had some people argue with me about whether or not those are true numbers, but the fact is we'll never know, right? Nobody will ever know what's really true as far as how much 90% silver is still out there, but we're going to continue to demonstrate that a lot was melted. So next I want to talk about is a Coin Week article that came out, and it's got some other fascinating data in it. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at that as well. Now, in a Coin Week article written by K.W. Callahan, he says, according to Merton, when it comes to dimes in particular, there were over 656,000 bags, each worth $1,000, burned by the illegal melters in the United States Treasury during the Big Silver Melt. The bag count on quarters was nearly 705,000, while around 373,000 bags of half dollars were reduced to bars of silver. My gosh, that's a lot of coinage. Now, we have to believe that they made a lot throughout the decades, right? I mean, they're making millions and millions, if not probably billions, of each denomination during that time. as far as, quantity and probably dollars as well. But here's a couple situations where we know, at least based on historical data or what people claimed at that time, that there was some serious junk silver melting going on. Taking it to the smelters, dropping it off, they write you a check, you leave, they melt it, turn it into bars, ship it to whoever needs it, and rinse and repeat, right? Over and over this was happening. Coin Week's really kind of also just backing up what Henry Merton said. So that's just another reference point to Henry Merton's claims. But this next video I want to show is from a PCGS article that was written, I believe, in 2000. Last I looked at, it was still on their website, and they give us some very interesting numbers about some melting that happened in 1979 and 1980. So let's take a look at that. Now I'm reading from a PCGS article, and this article was written around 2000. It can still be found on their site. According to this article, it says a lot of the melting took place in 1979 and 1980. Now this is another time period, right? Merton was writing about a time back in the 60s. There's another big melt that happened in 79 and 80. And of course, this was fairly close to time with the Hunt brothers, which that's something else we'll talk about some other time. But this article says a lot of the melting took place in 1979 and 1980 when silver bullion soared to an all-time high of $50 an ounce. At that point, common date silver coins were worth far more as metal than as money or collectibles. Even scarcer items could be melted at a profit. So because silver gone up so much, even somebody had maybe a rare, silver quarter was cashing it in to get the value of the spot price off it because it went up so much. There is, of course, no way of determining with precision the number of coins from each year that were melted. However, it's amply clear that the numismatic losses were substantial. Some might even say staggering. And the long-term implications are enormous. So again, this was written in 2000. How many coins have been melted since that time? I mean, 2000 is 22 years ago. Clearly there's been melting continuing to happen with our junk silver. So the article continues about a 1985 interview with coin dealers. Now this is in quotes. "Those coin melts probably hurt us more than we will ever know," said Leon E. Hendrickson, proprietor of Silvertown in Winchester, Indiana, a dealer that has dealt extensively in bullion-related coins over the years. "They destroyed a lot of our, quote, seed coins, the coins that got people started, and put a lot of collectors out of business." So that's Leon here is from Silvertown, which is still in business today. Hendrickson himself was deeply involved in the silver melts, buying huge quantities of silver coins from customers and selling them in turn to refiners. "I was part of it," he remarked, "so I can't point the finger at anybody else. I was just as guilty as anybody else. But that was the way everybody operated then. That was just the way the coin dealers had to do business." Hendrickson calculated that during 1979 and 1980, Silvertown alone processed thousands of bags of silver coins that were destined for refiners' melting pots. The late Joel Cohn of New York, a coin dealer who played a central role in the great silver melts, totally agreed with Hendrickson's assessment, and in 1985 he shared his concerns. Cohn estimated that of all the silver coins produced by the United States Mint, only about 1/4 survived the ongoing melts. He confided that he himself sold refiners $400 million worth of fabricated silver, mostly silver coins, during the one-year period from July 1st, 1979 to June 30th, 1980. And, he commented, other guys are doing the same thing. Alright, so that's pretty amazing information, huh? Some pretty incredible stats there. And again, it's based on, claims from people. So we have to, believe them. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't tell us the truth. But I didn't just create this video to rehash an old video. We're driving towards a point here. With junk silver being hard to find right now and costs a lot of money. I mean, there's a reason. And I'm trying to demonstrate what that reason is. And in a moment here, I'm going to show you a couple websites, it's going to demonstrate that junk silver is hard to find if you can find it at all, and it's very expensive. So we'll move on here, and this is an interesting comment about the silver lining in the whole process. So let's listen to this short little clip. Carr didn't dispute this at the time, and he feels the same today, but he does see a silver lining, the fact that melts ended when they did. He's convinced that if they hadn't, the stock of silver coins could have been wiped out completely. When silver hit $50 an ounce, I would say 98% of the silver coins in existence were committed to smelting houses, he confided. If the price had been maintained, most everything would have been lost. Fortunately, he added, the refiners had a 2 to 3 month backlog, and as silver dropped in value, they withdrew a lot of the coins. Even so, it's scary just thinking of what might have happened. So you see what he's saying there? Silver hit $50 an ounce, give or take, and that's what was causing these big melts to happen. People were pulling out their change jars, pulling out their collections, and they were taking them in and having them melted, having the silver melted, or taking it to coin dealers who, in theory, would have turned around and sold it, over the counter, but it was more profitable for them to take it to the smelters and not have to hang on to it as part of inventory. So silver going up to $50 an ounce caused a massive rush of sales for people who wanted to, get the profits out of their coinage. And the silver lining that they were just talking about was the fact that it dropped from $50, it dropped back down, and it caused some people to stop selling and also stop the smelters from being so busy with melting coins because the supply suddenly got cut off. So the silver lining is that had it stayed at $50, we might have melted everything. There might not have been hardly any 90% available. Now I'm sure there would have been some, just like the pre-33 gold, right? We were supposed to turn it all in back in the 30s. People held on to it. Well, they were allowed to hang on to, I believe, 5 ounces. But still, I believe there'd still be some around, but not much, and it'd be pretty collectible. But in my humble opinion, I think it's much more collectible now than we even realize. And we're seeing now that's costing a lot of money to buy just your basic 90% silver. Alright, so one more clip here, one final clip. Then we'll move on and check out some availability and prices. You talk about a big melt. This stuff has been melted for decades. They quit making it in 1964 was the last year. And look at all this stuff that has happened since then. So I don't know why we don't realize how rare this stuff really is. It's almost like, gold and silver, just their spot prices stay low or lower than we think, when in reality, we know it should be more. Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. I really believe that there's much, much less than we realize. And they're probably not doing it now with the demand that's out there. But coin dealers are still actively in the right times having this stuff melted. Daniel from Coin Help You on YouTube had a video. It's been a while now, a year or two ago. And he talked about that same thing, about how it was easier for him to just turn around and sell to a smelter than have to hang on to it, catalog it, take pictures of it, put it on a website, and go through that whole process. All that costs money. So when you can turn it over, get your money back almost instantly, that's what a lot of these dealers do. They don't sit there and hang on to it for a month or 2 or 3. They've got to roll over their cash and keep things moving. Now, I would argue today, they're probably not having to hang on to it that long, and so therefore not melting it. But when things change, I believe they'll go back to those same old practices that they were doing. All right, so let's take a look at junk silver and its availability now. So we're going to take a look at a couple different online bullion dealers. First one, in no particular order, is SD Bullion. So if we go out to their website, I'm just on their 90% constitutional junk silver, you can see they actually do have some 90%. It can be anything. It can be quarters, halves, dimes, it looks like. So they're not telling you what it's going to be. It's just going to be $10 face of something. And then they've got some huge bags here for as low as, $28 per face value per dollar. So that's okay. But if you do the math on $28 you're going to find that $28 for each dollar, so $28 per dollar face means that for every dollar, so 4 quarters or 2 halves or 10 dimes, you're going to pay $28 for it. But if you do the math on that, $28 is a lot. $28 works out to over $39 an ounce. What are they saying up here? Silver's $25, and when we're complaining about American Silver Eagles being expensive, they're right now charging $14 over spot for junk silver. I mean, I can show you where I was paying $3 and $4 below spot just a few years ago. You can go back to my videos, take a look at some of my earlier YouTube videos. For almost a year, I was getting it between $1 and $5 below spot, and just an incredible, pricing back then. And so glad we took advantage of it, because you can see now right now it's $14 over spot almost. So if we come down here, so just this top row, just one $10 face here. The rest are all bags, but look at all this other stuff. Notify me, notify me, notify me. Dimes, notify me. Quarters, notify me. They don't have any of this stuff in stock. This stuff is sold out. Half dollars, notify me. So look at what they were when they were available. They were over $30 per dollar face. We just did the math for $28. What's $30? Wow, that's a lot. All right, so you can see here SD Bullion essentially out of stock except for right here. And if you want to pay 28 times, you're certainly welcome to. I mean, if you want to jump in and at least get a roll of something, and if you don't have anything, it might be worth it just to get something in your collection. But wow, that's a lot. All right, so let's look at JM Bullion. So here's JM. You can see here they actually do. I'm kind of surprised. These bullion companies buy off of people. People send them stuff all the time. They're constantly purchasing. Looks like maybe somebody sold off their half dollars, because they do have Franklin's and Walker's in stock, ready to ship, it looks like. But let's do the math on $32.52. Well, maybe I'm doing my math wrong. I don't know. That came with a $45.52. So let's do it like this. This is what I like to do. 325.20. That's what it would be for $10 worth, right? And you divide that by 7.15, because that's how many ounces of silver are in a $10 roll. Yeah, it's $45.48. So JM Bullion is selling this stuff for almost twice, right? 45.48. It's $25.30. So this is $20 over $20 over spot for half dollars. That is incredible, folks. Wow. All right, so that's what it's going for, because you can't buy it. People are not selling it, and if people don't sell it, it's not available. We can come down here. All this other stuff is out of stock. So they got a few half dollars, but everything else completely out of stock. Wow, didn't realize it was that much money now. All right, so let's take a look at Bold here. Now Bold, I left it on the main page because their page is a little bit wonky for finding their 90%, because when you go here, they pull up all these quarters, which would have been, they come in proof sets, and they're selling them by the piece. So it really makes it look like they have a bunch of 90%, but they really don't. I mean, if you want to buy proof quarters for $9 a piece, you certainly can, but that's going to be like $360 for a roll, and that's going to be a lot. So I just came down here and I selected the year, and they only have they have a 1964. Well, that they had earlier. It's just it was out of stock anyway. But if we click on 1960, this website doesn't work very good. Yeah, so no products found. So Bold has no 90% as we're talking about it. Junk silver, quarters, dimes, halves that are circulated. They don't have any. They just have the proofs available. So again, not available. All right, let's jump over to Monument. I went to the 90% silver, $1 face value. And it looks like you can pre-order for $26.90. Now it looks like they have some actual quarters for sale for $26.90. So that's, better, but let's do the $26.90 and see what that comes out to. 7.15. So that's $37.60 for an ounce of silver. So we're looking at $12.50 over spot. All right. And then as you come down, so that's really the only thing they have available right there. That says it's on sale, but it's notifying me. All this stuff is notifying me. So, Monument Metals does not have anything available either, except $1 face of Washington quarters. And let's see if that was as low as, nope. It's $26.90 per dollar. So for 4 coins, for 4 quarters, $26.90. So $10 worth would cost you $269. Best prices on 90%. You know what? They might be right. They absolutely might be right. All right, folks. So that's really what we're dealing with here. Is we're dealing with a rarity. Junk silver is hard to find. If people don't sell it, you can't get it. And I would have to say I valued it as part of my stack years ago when I started stacking precious metals. I really fell in love with 90%. First roll I bought, I was hooked and addicted. And you'll see that 90% of all my first couple years on YouTube was all about junk silver 90%. And it kind of pains me to have not been buying it lately because it's just been so much money. But I stocked up nice and good back when it was 9x and 10x. So back in the day, just a few short years ago, I was paying $100 for $10 worth of silver, of junk silver. So, $100. That was it. Now it's what? We just saw $269, $36, whatever, or $360 for a roll. So it's very expensive now, but again, I think it's a staple to your collection. And although I probably wouldn't run out and buy a bag of it right now, if I didn't have any or had very little, I'd probably pick up a roll or two just to have it when it's available. But as you can see, being available is the problem. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed this video. It was great talking about 90% constitutional junk silver again. I love this stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I do, and I really hope you made it an important part of your stack. That's it for now. Thank you for watching, and always remember, let's keep talking bullion.